Yeah, it's
Well,
most famous.
speaking of workouts and what was the other one? Never mind. Speaking of workouts or the lack thereof, um, what do you guys think of about the sort of the fluctuation between COVID restrictions and all of the rule changes and the spontaneity of it?
Right. Um, so I find it very interesting tracking uh, the public reactions and what the outbursts that we hear about on the news, and seeing what are the different methods and what are the different goals of those groups.
Yeah.
Because a few days ago, now a week, there was a kind of violent uh,
Protest.
demonstration
Yeah.
near Old Port, Montreal.
Hmm.
And I think that group has different motivations, or rather intent, than other groups that have uh, also been protesting certain measures. So it's interesting that there are different currents. It's not just like there's not just two sides. There's layers to it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Do you think the protest that was fair, or was it sort of just outrageous? Like
That one
yeah,
in
the riot and the whole like, do you understand why they were doing it, or was sort of just like, oh, just a bunch of kids doing some stupid shit?
Well,
I
yeah.
understand why, but I don't agree with the methods or the
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
what
Just
was
people had
happening.
enough, like people when they're locked in their house in their like bedrooms for like months at a time without seeing like friends and family and stuff, being distanced, it comes to the point that there's like limits to like certain people, it's just had enough, but it's not an excuse, obviously. The only thing that they're hurting is local businesses,
Yeah, that was
people.
just
They're
That
just
was
hurting
that
each
was,
yeah.
that was
hurting each
outrageous.
other, basically.
They're just
It's
making
just
it worse for themselves
just
for the
making
rest of the
they're
lockdown.
making it worse for themselves and others. There's businesses that have been affected. Windows are breaking and stuff like that. Like they're throwing chairs at in stores. What they do to you? It's
But I
not
mean,
it's not a response. That's
well,
that's just violence.
it was the same. It was the same vibe as the whole BLM protest that happened last year, where they used it as a smoke screen, and they basically raided like Steve's guitar shop and all those.
I
Yeah, that's so stupid, man.
So
I think there's a big difference between, if we're talking the movements involved.
no, I'm talking about the reaction in terms of those people, those specific people who trashed the local businesses. They were
Right.
just finding an excuse, or rather a
Yeah, yeah,
distraction
yeah.
to.
They
They're
were
opportunists. They're
yeah, exactly.
opportunists. There's not like another word I could even think of. They're opportunists. They want to
Yeah,
take the advantage of the chaos to
yeah,
either rob or take
Yeah,
something that's not theirs.
yeah.
but
They That's a good way to put it, is that they also see it, like you said, Daryl, as a smoke screen a bit,
yeah,
where they get to be a bit like not held accountable.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, because just chaos everywhere. So
They see the violence as a distraction for them to follow their own like agenda, their own like plans, which is
however,
to raid stores.
I do understand though why those people are because there's ultimately for the longest time now people blame the specific demographic for the cause of these
Yeah,
spreads, right? And the thing is, I don't think it's fair to blame just the young kids who are partying all the time, because seeing as not many of the young kids are the ones traveling and bringing those sort of new variants into the country. You know what I mean? They're
mhm,
partying, yeah, they're being close contact, but the thing is, they're sort of in within the same space. Whereas, like, people who go traveling or go on vacation during the summer, who happen to be more towards the middle-aged businessman type deal, those people are the ones who ultimately bring the variants in.
well,
So, I mean, yeah,
yeah, that's statistically the most spread of the virus has been through work areas.
mm,
So yeah, people traveling for work, people
yeah,
Airports and
in
stuff like that.
workspaces,
yeah,
and well, schools now, because the government decided to open the
yeah,
schools, right? And that created a bit of dissonance between groups that argued. On one side, they said, oh, but the kids need some social interaction,
Yeah.
which is a fair point, that it is important for human development.
Yeah.
But then countering that, others said that would just spread it. Like there's no, it's just opening the floodgates, right?
Yeah.
And
I
that's
think
what happened.
there's
It's
a
like
big lack
poking
of
holes in a water balloon, man.
Well,
yeah.
It's gonna leak.
there's a big lack of organization in terms of how to like manage all of these problems.
And not just that, concerning like how the government addresses the people. A lot of people, I understand why there is vitriol and anger with these new protests, because the government, at least here, has been taking a bit of a paternalistic stance where they've been blaming people and not the regulations.
Mhm.
They've been saying, oh, well, you guys are partying too much. But the government chose to open schools. In fact, schools did not want to open.
Yeah.
They were pressured into taking that decision
Yeah.
by the government. So
Well, that's
They
the
were
thing, though,
just they
because
were doing just fine with online classes. The government's the one that decided to be like, okay, teachers go back to school, kids go
yeah,
back.
and also the teachers were also very concerned about the new
the
protocols. and all
teachers
that
did
stuff.
not want
Yeah,
that.
they didn't
were
want to.
pressured into it.
They were very much against it.
What I
Yeah.
find quite disturbing is the fact that they saw, there was a big, it was a relatively big dip in terms of like the previous variants, and like the cases of COVID started slowly going down, and I feel like those people had like sort of this mentality, like, oh, since it's going down, might as well restart everything, right? It's kind of like, let's not stop the spread, let's just slow it down type mentality.
Right.
And I feel like that's the whole idea of like the whole reason why there's so much like just was it that like it's all chaotic and there's no like real orders, because they don't really aim to stop it, they aim more just to slow it down. And so it's kind of like saying, okay, let's deal with the problem, but then once like the problem's relatively gone, like it's not gone, but it's still there obviously, but as it's relatively gone, then we can have fun again. And
So we're
then-
kind of stuck in this loop. So
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
like
It's
so
exactly
going
that.
so going up and down and up and down. and
Yeah,
up
we're
and
gonna
down.
keep at this rate. We keep kind of falling back into our old ways, and then it spreads again,
Yeah.
and then we're confined again, and it just ad infinitum. It's not gonna end.
and then the whole idea of like, because now they're implementing what is it, hotel so quarantine zones, when like people
Yeah.
come in from outside of town, whatever,
Yeah.
they go into, they're mandatory quarantined inside a hotel for 2 weeks, which is great. A little
Which
too
they
late
pay
for that,
for.
which is yeah, by the way, it's the people who have to pay for it, it's not
Yep.
the fucking government, so it's hilarious.
Most ridiculous shit.
But
Yep.
it's- I
2
find it-
weeks, huh?
I find it, 2 weeks. I find it quite hilarious how it's like this late in the game, and they're like, let's do this now. Let's do this
Right.
now, but not really to the full extent. Like we're not really serious about it. Just like sort of showing. It's like a show. To be like, look, elect me next term, because look, I did this. See what I did?
Right.
Hotels.
Mhm.
Right.
I know what I'm doing. It's like,
Let's see what I did.
I think